double whammy show, if I may say. We'll definitely start with the arrest of the GFA boss, and then we are going to end up with NCA's contract with KELNI GVG, $89 million to monitor all phone calls that come into the nation, so that we can get the relevant taxes and revenue that are due us. Two school of thoughts. Those are the ministry who think, yep, it's a good thing, and Imani who thinks, no, you may be spending too much for nothing. So we'll be looking all into that. But hey, it's promising to be a very, very good and informative show, and got a lot of education on this NCA contract. By the time we end, you will completely understand what it is, what it does, why we need it, or why we do not need it. My name is Nana Ansakwa, the fourth chief of the Little Republic of Akromu Edumasa, and when I come back, we are looking at a double whammy show. Don't go. Well, thank you very much for staying. And pardon me, I said the arrest? No, the president has ordered for the arrest. He hasn't been arrested yet. We are talking about Kwesi Nyantechi, who is the president, GFA. But with me in the studio is Franklin Kujo, very well respected worldwide think tank. Imani, we can't take that away from you. That's on paper.
It's a Ghana commodity.
Thank you very much. How are you doing, Frank?
I could be better, but thanks. Just tired and a bit angry, a bit annoyed, and a part of me just wondering when this country would ever take its place. Course, yeah? When it comes to issues of real good governance. Right. I mean, I've been disappointed in the last couple of days, exceedingly disappointed.
Let me divert a little bit and then come back to the issue. Now, once upon a time, the NDC were very, very upset with you because they thought you were not speaking in their favor. Now that you're not speaking in this current government favors, I mean, have you had any backdoor letters or text messages saying that, we like your tone now or something?
This is ominous. It's really ominous because yesterday some officials of the NDC actually called and they were wondering. And I said, why are you wondering? They said, well, we have wondered for a while, but now it's been confirmed that really you guys are truly independent. I said, did you think we were not? So it's I mean, it's vindication enough, but again, I keep saying people just need to look at the content of what we do, and I think it is important that we draw inspiration from the fact that there are people who, like in the west of Nkrumah, neither face east nor west, but just forward, and that's what we have come to understand for this country. Yes, we may have our political biases here and there, but as far as the work is concerned, we don't care whose ox is really God. I mean, we just present the facts and we allow it to speak for itself.
Wow. Well, today, Anas has been doing his usual undercover job, investigates the GFA, and apparently it was shown to the president, and the content of it, we are told that he was, defrauding by false impersonation. We were told that he allegedly saying that he's got the president and a vice in his pocket, and with a certain amount of money, he could grant access to them for contracts and stuff. I don't know. I mean, this whole shenanigan, where will it end? I mean, Nyantechi has been on the banner for a while.
As you know, the sports industry has been characterized by all kinds of allegations of a mafia, and indeed the fact that clearly our football isn't doing quite well simply because the same set of musical chairs are being played.
Let me correct it. Defrauding by false pretense.
Okay,
yeah,
defrauding by false pretense. Well, first of all, we haven't seen the video, so we are not able to tell exactly what it is, but somehow, well, it's the president's prerogative, depending on what he's seen, and then he's decided that he's probably been columnized, and so somehow he needs to take action. As to whether he should have waited for us to see the video so that we can all say, oh, truly, this was really required, that's another matter, because I'm sure governance experts may be quibbling over this matter already. Is it because some persons have been mentioned without us having seen the video? It's like going to court. I mean, if you've committed a crime and you haven't been heard, I don't know, you probably wouldn't be hanged. But in this case, it appears the president had the prerogative, the benefit of seeing the video ahead of us, and then he felt very, very, if you like, defamed, and decided that this course of action should happen. Ordinarily, did the statement come like that, or we are all guessing?
Well, there's just small snippets in the news.
From the
Deputy Chief of Staff, spoke on Newsnight.
Mm-hmm.
He said, yes, indeed, the president had, instructed the CID to investigate or cause an arrest.
Well, it's a big issue, really, and I don't know whether it's the right course to take. I really would have preferred that we all see the video, and then when this action is taken, then everybody will sort of understand.
Could it be, but if we all see the video, there will be too much speculation all over. So if indeed the president's name is being mentioned, look, let me clear myself out before they bring this video out.
But that doesn't help in the issues anyway. In fact, this rather fuels the suspicions as to whether what has been said is true or not. Eventually, we'll get to see. I'm told it's just a few weeks away. This rather deepens the issues, really, because now we are speculating. I haven't seen any portions of the video, so people are now speculating some 5 million, some 3 million, and some figures are being bandied about. What it doesn't do to help is that then it feeds into the suspicion. Don't forget, there have been stories around the presidency, cash for seats and all of that. I don't know how true they are, but they tend to give some levels of credence to this kinds of activity, give some levels of credence to the thought that you probably want to cover up. I mean, I'm not saying that is what it is, but I would have wished so that in order not for people to keep guessing and saying, what did he really say? We don't have to wait for June 6th in order to hear what Nyantechi is said to have said, in order for us to be on the side of the president, right? Oh, sorry, I'm saying we needed to wait, rather, for us to understand what has been said. Because all kinds of things could come up. Well, it's not my voice. I was bragging. We don't know all of those. So maybe the action was taken for some reasons known to the president than ourselves. We really don't know.
I mean, what is it about football and Nyantechi and the GFA? They're always making too many negative headlines.
Well, unfortunately, it's not just Nyantechi. It's also with our politics. Every now and then, when there's been a scandal, you normally would hear the other side shouting hoarse, and then all of a sudden the thing is covered, and so we wake up with it almost every day, and nothing really changes. So for me, the Nyantechi story, if I'm using his name here I mean, I need to advise myself by using his name. I mean, the GFA story is just a microcosm of what we really are in this country. So let's not make it look as if it's just a GFA story. It's a Ghana story. It's a Ghana political story, which the GFA has conveniently found a way of working and tapping into the morals of the society, which obviously is broken.
It's an unfolding story. Let's wait and see. But we'll go straight and hear the voice of Mr. George Anda on this NCA deal, and then we'll come back in studio to find out whether it's good or not. And George myself may join us on the phone.
Cited the resignation of the NCA board member. I haven't seen anywhere in the resignation where it says that her resignation is based on the common monitoring platform. I think that if we understand the governance structure, the ministry supervises the NCA and not the NCA that supervises the ministry. So the NCA, there cannot be a situation where the NCA is contradicting the policy direction that comes from the ministry. What you are saying is not true. I believe that you do the right thing and eat your humble pie. So let's wait for the NCA board, okay? When the NCA board releases a statement, depending on which direction it goes, we can take the discussion further. None of the telcos have expressed any concern about the implementation of the policy. The Telecoms Chamber hasn't expressed any concern about implementation of the policy. They are in full support of government's decision to implement this policy. There are two concerns that they had. The one on the privacy of their subscribers' data and one on security of their infrastructure. There's no way that we're going to compromise on the spirit of the law. Whatever we are doing hasn't got access to the content of the subscriber data. I'm not sure that there's any telco that is talking to you, and I'll challenge you to name whichever telco is talking to you.
So that's the part 2 of the show, and that's more technical. And I'm going straight to Franklin. Franklin, this monitoring system, obviously I know Imani's position is that we don't need it. But the argument is that it's going to save us revenue. We see the traffic of calls coming in, so the state can really monitor and find out who's not playing ball and who's playing ball. So why would you frown against it?
This question is an important question. While it's being asked, we need to also counterintuitively ask the ministry and the NCA and the Ministry of Finance, why do you want us to trust you that you do proper due diligence in giving the contract out without telling us how the contract was done, who the other bidders were, who the owners of this contract, sumptuous, juicy contract are, but you want us to trust you to go into the telcos, systems and monitor our calls? I think it's a very fundamental question to ask, and I'm not dodging your question. I'm just saying that while you do not trust the telcos, and it's rich because Mr. Jojanda, who was a chief marketing officer of the telcos, presumably is acting on this basis because he suspects or he believes that the telcos were actually stealing money when he used to work there. I mean, that's the only reason why this can be more aggressive. But let's leave all of that. I think it's important to establish the fact that the matter we are dealing with really is that, one, this monitoring thing is not needed. The reason why it's not needed is that there's no single unit system that can actually monitor real-time calls. You know why? Because on that platform, all kinds of activities are happening at the same time. There's mobile money, there is calls, there's SMS, there are all kinds of bundles, promotions, and all of that. The best you can do is to assure the revenue, and there are revenue assurance experts in the GRA and the NCA who have been trained. What you need to do is that while you do this process of using the officials to revenue assure, you also make it punitive, right? Because the whole idea about taxation is really the bulk revenue that you are looking at, granted. But you cannot micromanage everything. It's just like the United States government asking Google to install a system into their machine so that every advert that Google places on Joy, here in Ghana, in Seychelles, everywhere, they get a percentage of it. Do you know how complex that thing can be? In fact, the US government will not even think about this lazy policy in the first place, and Google will not even agree. Let's bring the analogy home. It's like saying, what they are doing is like saying to, going to Movenpick and saying that, look, we don't trust your records of people who actually slept in the rooms or ate at the restaurant. So because we don't do that, we want to see those who booked and didn't probably confirm, but you are not even convinced. So you actually place somebody at the gate of Movenpick. Everybody coming in, whether they are going to urinate or not, going to toilet, you count. By the time you finish, you'll be counting ghosts, and you probably won't see any real value. So the idea of the monitoring itself is a lazy approach to suggesting that something will be done, and it's a facade. What the word I'm trying to use is that it's a facade. It's to suggest that there's something going on. So we need to pay money, $178 million, in order to procure a system that can actually give us real-time value.
What, 178 or 89?
89. The contract is 10 years. Actually, it's renewable automatically. It's 10-year contract. So we actually, the 89 is the first 5 years, automatically renewed to double. We'll come to those specifics. So that's dealing with the common monitoring platform. By the way, did you know that this same GVG people had been contracted in 2010 by the previous administration to do what? Build, operate, and transfer. The same thing that is happening today. We were paying them $1 million at the time for this same project. When
let me acknowledge George on the phone. Hello, George.
Can I? No. I don't think you said you would. When I speak, then he speaks. He comes in because he has a habit of interjecting, and I don't think it's nice.
No,
let me acknowledge him. That's fine. But let me flow because there's a lot of confusion that is happening.
I'll let you flow before I bring you.
So what it is really is that they are using this common monetary platform, obviously aided by a defective law, in order to make it sound so intelligent that we need to become like SHAS, KGB officials. We need to get into the systems of the telcos so that we can assure revenue. I'm submitting to you that they can never do that. They will never get the right revenues anyway. And it will never happen because the functions that the GVG is supposed to perform, we've had them here in the country in 2010. They never return any value. The same BOT. So we should ask them, what happened to the previous BOT arrangement?
Let me clarify that.
Yes.
Could they get a good approximate?
What's approximate?
This monitoring thing. I mean, if they don't get the actuals, can they get like good
They'll get nothing. Zero. Zilch. You know why? Nana, listen. When my good friend George was asked yesterday on Joy FM about what exact value we are going to get when we spend this, give this free money away, he said $700 million to $1 billion over 5 years. But let's look at the figures. That's with a monitoring system. As we speak today, the average yearly revenue from the telcos is about $1.6 billion. It's about $1.6 billion 600. 2014, we got 1.05 billion cedis from the telcos in taxes and fees. 2015, we got a little more than that. It was about 1.104 billion, right? In 2016, MTN alone gave us 1.1 billion in revenues in taxes and fees. In 2017, they gave us 1.2 billion. I've not talked about the other telcos. In fact, I've not even talked about the direct taxes on Momo, which this system is coming to monitor. There's already a direct tax on Momo, so why is the system coming to monitor what? What is the system monitoring? Because when you do Momo, instantly the tax is taken. You see it, they also see it, right? So the point is that, having said this,
no, but was he talking about that if this system comes, they're going to get an extra 1 billion?
No, that's not what he said. In any case, that would be voodoo economics, really. In fact, that would be too expectant. In actual fact, you'll be suggesting that you'll be getting 5 billion Ghana cedis in a year, if that is what he's probably saying. But that's not what he said. What he said is that over 5 years, we are likely to get $1 billion, which translates to 4.6 billion. And I'm submitting to you, given the revenues, without this monitoring system as we speak, by 5 years' time, we are going to get about 7.5 billion Ghana cedis, which dwarfs the so-called 4-point-something billion that this will bring. So they haven't done their calculations well. They've not done the commercial valuations well. All they've done is a political evaluation, which is rooted in juju, tricks, and magic. There's nothing in this deal that makes any financial sense. It is, I don't want to use the word fraudulent, but it's looking as if that is it. That is certainly what it is. So what we are dealing with is a grave matter. Let's not make it look as if the system is needed. No. And by the way,
is it not a tried and tested system elsewhere?
Tried and tested where? All the places they've tried and tested, they've never returned value. The recent one is Tanzania, where they claim they installed it in 2016, and within 3 months, they claim the revenue jumped. The Vodacom CEO, the largest telco in Tanzania, actually came out and said, hey, nothing of the sort happened because of your monitoring. It was because taxes, the Financial Taxation Act 2016 of Tanzania, was revised and increased across board, I think about 18%. So it affected revenues across board. That is the science that we should be applying to this. Not somebody getting free money every month for delivering nothing. And by the way, this analogy ought to be made. Let me tell you, when the oil giants were coming into this country to come and drill oil, did we give them any money? They brought their money, right? Mm-hmm. We had our oil. They came prospecting, and then we decided that we'll have carried interest and what? And then have a taxation component, right? And even then, we couldn't determine, and we couldn't tell them that give us 100 million every year, because it's based on the find, which is more a proper analogy than this. This one, they've not told you what you find. They are giving you $1.5 million every month. Go, spend it, build, operate, and transfer. What a lazy approach to giving free money away. You are giving money to somebody to come and build something, operate it, and later transfer it to you after 5 years, after which it will be an obsolete equipment. And the point I'm making to you, Nana, is that in 2010, we had the same GVG. Build, operate, transfer, $1 million every month. If indeed they were that useful, what happened? They will say that, oh, they sold out to some other company. Why? If it was a good thing, why didn't that company continue that thing, right? So anywhere they tell you, in Senegal, they were chased away. They're having issues in Togo, they're having issues, and they use African countries, and they bribe officials as well. In Sierra Leone, they bribed Johnson Sirleaf's government $25 million. They are being investigated as we speak, right? Everywhere they've been, there have been issues. The basic due diligence was not done in this matter. And I'm saying that even if you found out on their website, which was the funniest thing, within a day, they changed their location, office location from Newtown to now a place close to Metro. As I speak to you, they did that. They had a phone number. We call the phone number doesn't exist. Once we put it out and the slides, then they changed the phone number to a mobile number. Which company who is in the news would not even show their faces to say that we've won a proper contract? 90 million, Nana, 90 million for the first 5 years. It's no small money. And the company is so legit that they will not even say anything, but they issue a political statement on their website. In fact, the website when you click some of it, it gives you some error messages. Their clients are not known. In fact, this company used to be in the import and export business. I think they were importing cement, tomatoes, or something like that. That's what they were doing. All of a sudden, the company that they claim was on in 1995 doesn't have a befitting website. And they said it was only in 2017 that they started putting things together to bid. And you give a contract and tell them that 30 days after the contract, you start paying them without delivering value. And you tell us that in 2018, July 2018, that's when they will be functional. Meanwhile, you are telling us that Glow has connected. Connected to what? If your statement says you will be functional in July 2018, I'm sure you have their statement. I've read the statement back and back. I don't see any sense in it. I don't know who wrote the statement, but full of errors and lies. So if you say that in July 2012, your thing will be functional, the thing you are building, the illegal thing you are building, will now be functional in July 2018. Why are you telling us that telcos are connecting? Glow has connected. Connected to what? A shell, a ghost, or what? Because the thing is not functional yet.
Okay, let me bring George in here now.
Yes,
hello, George.
Come in.
Good evening.
Good
evening, Nana. How are you? And good evening, Franklin.
Good evening, George.
To your viewers.
George, I'm sure there's so many answers, but I want to start with how much losses do we suspect to justify this investment?
Nana,
yeah.
let me explain. Let me try and start from the basics. And I'm surprised at the kind of language that Franklin is using and the kind of descriptors that he's using. I think it's not proper for him to be going that route. But that said, in 2009, there was an arrangement where both the Ghana Revenue Authority and the National Communications Authority were working to different mandates. Whereas the Ghana Revenue Authority was working to a mandate of revenue assurance, the National Communications Authority was working to a mandate of traffic management. Two companies, and then 2013, the then government decided to pass a law that enabled the common monitoring platform to come into force. By this law, it meant that all these services that GRA and NCA required were to come under a common platform for one vendor to deliver the services. The process was further solidified by the stakeholder forum that was held on the 8th of March 2017. At this stakeholder forum, the NCA board and management, the Ghana Revenue Authority management, Ministry of Communications, Ministry of Finance, Senior Minister, all the telco CEOs and their top management, and AfriWave and Suba were represented. And after presentation of the NCA, the presentations of AfriWave and Suba, it was concluded that for the services that AfriWave and Suba were rendering for that amount of money, it wasn't making business sense. Because whereas their initial contract was requiring for them to analyze data from the networks independently, what they were doing was to take the call data records in Excel format, which is actually mediated CDRs, and doing the so-called analysis. NCA did confirm that they were getting all these call data records directly from the telcos free of charge. So it didn't make sense for the government of Ghana through NCA and VRA to be paying $2.6 million monthly for getting data that the NCA could get directly from the telcos. The system that we have put in place is a 4-sub-based system. We're doing traffic management, we're doing revenue assurance, we're doing mobile money monitoring, and we're doing fraud management. So as far as the scope is concerned, versus the previous scenario, where it was looking at just 2, traffic monitoring and revenue assurance, what we have in place now is doing traffic monitoring, revenue assurance, fraud management, and mobile money management. In terms of value, we are delivering this service at 55% less than the total value of the 2 previous vendors. And indeed, at the end of the period of the contract, the asset becomes owned by the government of Ghana. Franklin is saying that at the end of the period of the contract, the asset would be obsolete. Indeed, for the 5-year period, the vendor is mandated to renew the system 3 times over the period. So at the time of handing over, should it be after 5 years, the system would have been refreshed and renewed 5 times, and the government of Ghana will get access to the latest version of the equipment. So this is a build, rate, manage, and transfer model. It is not the previous arrangement where the vendors or the suppliers were just providing the service using their own equipment. There was no transfer of knowledge there was no transfer of equipment to the government of Ghana. Now, Franklin is talking about the revenue that the telcos are generating. And indeed, in my submission, I was making reference to specific aspects of revenue. Maybe it didn't come out clearly. I was talking about CST, about the specific taxes and levies, about VAT. There are other taxes that the telcos pay. They pay import duties and stuff like that on all the equipment that they bring in. So if you add those additional taxes,
Jesus Christ,
okay, which are not necessarily monitored by the system, you could get the huge figures that he's talking about. But fair, let us use Franklin's figures. So if we are looking at a $7.5 billion business in 5 years, and we are using $0.89 billion to monitor the revenue that government should be getting in terms of CST, in terms of VAT, okay, etc. I don't think that is a wrong decision for government to take, especially when at the end of the period, the equipment reverts to the ownership of the government of Ghana.
Okay, George, let me come in here. I'm coming here from a very, very layman point of view. If it's my taxes and our taxes going to be used to pay, I think the simple thing is that, listen, if I invest this 89 million over 5 years, I could save you 20 million or 20 billion. Then I'm thinking, then it's worth it. But and so I think those are the cracks, to get us on board is how much are we going to get? Because is it just monitor them? Because Franklin was saying that with regards to mobile money, and as soon as you send it, they tell you paid 250, you paid 5 cedis. It's taken there and then. You don't need anybody to tell you that they took that money. But if you're putting all these things together, fraud and everything, has there been any research or anything that says that, listen, you put something in place and your revenues are going to go up 30 or 50% or something?
The issue is not about revenue going up per se. The issue is about being assured of the revenue that is guaranteed to the government.
But they're giving you that money already, or?
It's no. What? Listen, when the telcos were giving reports on the network quality, okay, are we not the same people that were saying that these reports are not accurate and that we needed independent reports? It was when we started delivering independent reports, okay, when we started delivering independent reports that we were able to tell that the reports that the telcos were giving were not entirely accurate, and we could hold them to certain specific gaps as far as the network quality of service was concerned.
Okay, John,
we are looking. Can I line, please?
Okay.
We are looking. We are monitoring mobile money. At the moment, there is absolutely no visibility for mobile money transactions. Okay, only thing that is happening is that the telcos tell Bank of Ghana, this is the value of the business. These are the transactions that are being made, and then this is the revenue that government should take. This is $30. Okay? Now,
I think you should
we're saying that no, we do not want that. We do not want that. We want a situation where we'll be able to monitor the revenue, and we'll be able to determine ourselves what it is that the government is supposed to earn. Okay? So it is not in just the head of Franklin to decide on what government should make,
okay,
or what government should do.
Okay, George, hold on there for me. I mean, frankly, what's so wrong if, okay, fine, the telcos are giving us $1 billion, they're giving us this, they are taking their mobile money, but what's wrong with the third eye to say, look, yes, you're giving me that $1 million, but
oh, there's nothing entirely wrong. Already that capability exists by revenue assurance officials. You see, the auditing that is required, it's a rigorous audit. It's not the one that you go and plug a machine. These days, even if you want to really do that with the telcos, let me even hazard a guess. We have sophisticated machines right now. There are several doors to a system. They could show you a door and you probably won't see it. let them audit their books. If you find any little infraction, you put a huge fine, right? If they do it again, a second fine. By the way, there's something else we should pick from Mr. Georgiander's submission. He said to check fraud and all of that. Within the realms of fraud is the issues about SIM box fraud. Did you know that the reason why SIM box fraud actually occurs is because of an arbitrage issue, that we charge 19 cents on international calls, and so it was lucrative when the sub-region is charging 14, 15 less cents. So it was lucrative for SIM box fraudsters to come into our market. In fact, the telecoms industry and the chamber, which was headed by the current CEO of the NCA, copiously stated with evidence that the issue is a price issue. It's not a policy issue for you to go and procure gadgets. So what you need to do is that reduce the incentive for that. When Nigeria did that, you don't hear of SIM box fraud. South Africa did it, you don't hear about SIM box fraud, right? So it defeated the issue about fraud detection in the first place. So do that. In any case, these days, how many people make calls, direct calls on phones? There's voice over IP. People now do WhatsApp. I don't remember the last time I made an international call using my airtime. That is dwindling. And by the way, George, please, you go back and check your figures. I think you should get somebody at the department there to do proper research for you. The CST tax is how much? 58 million in 2016, or 2017, or 2016, and then 54 million in 2017 dollars. That's all we are getting. This machine that is coming, how can it all of a sudden transform the entire thing and then connect that all these people are stealing credit to the extent that they will give us 700 million? How do you move from 54 million to 700 million with some fake machine? This thing will never pass. By the way, in 2016, did you know MTN alone paid $67 million to NCA to procure 4G? You should be encouraging things like this so that the industry will grow, not to look for opportunity to tax and collect and harbor. And what is this?
On that note, let me take a quick break and come back and continue this subject. To plug in or not to plug in? Coming straight back. Well, the big issue and small time. Big issue and small time. But one of the angles thrown into this is a member of the NCA board who presumably or allegedly resigned because wasn't happy with the deal. But there's been a statement saying, listen, you know, she resigned for resign's sake. She didn't resign because of this deal. But it's all adding up. Is Imani got any insight on this?
Well, first of all, the NCA has waded into the rather profligate and scandalous 178 million GVG contract. They say that they are just an implementing agency per their statement, and that its board does not have authority to approve or reject any contract. In fact, by inference, the NCA is only saying that it implements instructions and directives of the Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Communications as far as the activities related to these laws that they mention are concerned. And they've rebutted a few. But the admission opens up more questions. And I typed this recently. For clarity, in order to flow properly, let me read them. Question 1 from this statement, this is for the NCA. Is it the case that the acts governing the creation and functions of the NCA permit it to use its internally generated funds to pay for services procured by the MOC and MOF? You should answer that question, because there's a reason why we've asked it. We have a lot of ammunition, info. 2, is it the case that the act governing the functions of the NCA permit it to give loans to the Ministry of Communications? Because we have information, they are doing that. Was there any communication in a memo, as in a memo, between the resigned board member and the NCA with respect to question 1 and 2? Did she resign in a written memo because 1, the NCA was using internally generated funds against the rules and laws of the NCA to procure services for the Ministry of Communication? Is it the case that the NCA must have given loans to the Ministry of Communication against this act, as referenced in the memo we've seen? Has the NCA actually given any money to the Ministry of Communications as a loan? Now, the buck has still fallen back on the ministry of Communications to still answer the crucial question as to how this contract has been implemented so far. Has the Ministry of Communications paid GVG KELNI any money so far regards to the contract?
Well, I think that...
Second question, if so, how much and what work has GVG KELNI done so far to warrant the payment they've received, approximately 7.5 million out of 178 million agreed? These are questions. So the statement they issued is rich, but we know about the memo. So they should answer the memo.
Because of time, let me go straight to Mr. George. And hello, George.
Yes, Nana.
Big questions, but I'll only give you like 3 minutes. Can you...
Well, I believe that those questions are directed to the NCA, as he himself said. So I think that if you write to the NCA, the NCA will give you the right answers.
But there are other questions of the ministry. Have they
they were
paid,
wondering if the ministry had paid any money.
But frankly,
have you paid any money to GVG?
Frankly, with all due respect, we have told you if you have issues, come directly to the ministry.
This is the biggest platform.
I'm not going to. It's frankly, with all due respect, okay. I'm not going to debate this issue with you in the media.
Well, as friends, we wouldn't. But please,
well,
you are using our taxes. You've used our taxes for something, and you can't even be bold to say that we use the taxes to pay.
George,
you started this whole thing saying that the policy decision was not right.
It's a very defective policy.
Okay, let him land.
You said the procurement process was not followed.
Yes, you didn't do that. You restrictive tendering without seeing the tender.
Let him land.
Franklin, with all due respect, I'll be happy if you don't keep on interrupting.
Thank you.
You said the procurement process was not followed. You said that it didn't deliver on value for money. You said the company that won the bid finally did not have any credibility to deliver what it is that they are being contracted to do. On each of these points, we have drawn attention to the facts of the matter. We have given you evidence of the policy. We have drawn your attention to the policy, and we have stated clearly that this is a policy being implemented by the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Communications. Okay? As they hold the policy, the implementing agencies are the GRA and the National Communications Authority. Procurement process, we are proving to you that this was a restrictive tender, which is allowed by the procurement laws of Ghana. If you have any concerns, you can reach out to the Public Procurement Authority for validation. About value for money, we have proven to you that this is a bill, operate, money, and transfer arrangement.
George, just a simple one.
Can I please let me land? Okay. It's a bill, operate, money, and transfer arrangement, where after the period of the contract, for 5 years, the equipment will be refreshed, and the latest version of the equipment will be made available to the good people of Ghana through the arrangement that's in place. You have said that it's an obsolete equipment that will be handed over. I've drawn your attention to the contract that this is not the case.
Okay, George,
so on every issue,
George, I need you to help me out here.
That you have been misinformed. Okay, we have drawn your attention to the facts of the matter.
George, because of time, I want you to help me out. This 7.5 million that has been paid in advance, has the ministry paid it?
Sorry?
Has the ministry paid $7.5 million to KELNI GVG?
Some payments, in terms of the contract, some payments would have been made.
Okay.
But that is stated in the terms of the contract under the bill of free money and transfer model.
Okay.
Okay. You don't start on a BOMT. You don't start getting the immediate benefit when the thing hasn't been finished, in terms of when the bill hasn't been finished. But per the terms of the contract.
Some payments have been made.
Yes, payments have been made in terms of the contract.
Joe, thank you so much. My time is out now. I wish we could have more time to go on, but well, some money.
Fraudulent payment.
Well, you didn't say fraudulent because it's in the
payment
contract.
Made for no value returned. That's why the contract itself is a fraudulent one. Because you see, let me tell you something. The contract was done through restrictive tender. We never saw it. We never heard it. It was going to be cool chop until people within the telecoms industry say, "Hey,
are you not being a bit harsh?"
No way.
No
way. How can you?
It's like you called me to come and MC your show.
Hold on.
And the show hasn't come, and I said, look, you have to give me 20 cedis. If you agree, you've agreed. It's not as if it wasn't part of the agreement, and then you suddenly gave me the money.
Well, wait a minute. You are supposed to MC a show. You come and sit down. You've not started MCing anything. In fact, you actually come and drink my water and start eating my food. All of a sudden, you are telling me that because the show hasn't started, I've had the food and water, I should pay you 20 cedis. So what if you have a headache and you can't continue the work? What kind of thing is this? This is exactly the deal they've gone to sign. A very bad deal.
We'll come back and then we'll look at the Suba injunction and see how this deal is even going to go forward, because the telcos are saying Suba are still claiming, look, they have the right to do that. They put an injunction on it. So the telcos are not plugging into these machines until further notice. This conversation has just started. We'll find out as to whether we plug in or we plug out. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back to do this all over again. But Franklin, thank you so much.
Pleasure to be here.